I feel like it shouldn't be a controversial opinion that Lois Lane should have gotten a poster before probably 75% of the characters of Superman. I also don't think it should be a controversial opinion to be a little bit hesitant when all the marketing of a movie features a woman only as a mother and does not give her the same liberties as some of the male characters. Or just keeps her with that fuck-ass baby every single figure she gets. A lot of comic book movies are inherently misogynistic just because they won't hire a woman on the writing team, or on the directing team, or in the executive positions. It's a whole thing. Anyway, welcome back to another episode of Last Week in Comics, where I discuss the last week in comics. People are losing their fucking minds on Twitter this week. Let's talk about it. First up, the kind of big release for this week is, of course, the DC Pride special for this year.
Hope everybody's having a great Pride Month. Shout out to the gays.
So, unlike in previous years, this book is no longer an anthology series. All of these individual stories are interconnected. In my opinion, kind of works to the book's favor. We're allowed to showcase a lot more characters, a lot more identities, a lot more queer artists and writers for DC. I'm saying this because Jodie Bellaire's back on colors for the Renee story, and I was fucking hyped about that. Overall plot, Alan's gay lover, old man toxic Yowie's back. His name's Johnny, or Vlad. I didn't realize that in my review, but now I have to say it now. But he's like possessed this wall, and essentially, it's this wall in this queer space. I'm not really sure if it's a bar or if it's like a coffee house or something. It's a bar. Of course it's a fucking bar. We don't get anything except bars! We have like a queer swimming pool or something. Like, I genuinely think having a queer, like, swimming, like, clubhouse sort of situation would actually be, like, really nice. I need to get back on fucking topic. What was I talking about? Alan's old man lover has possessed this bar to essentially find some way to resurrect himself, and he finds it in Ethan, who is probably going to be forgotten about by the time Alan Scott gets another book. Honestly, I kind of wish that Alan just wasn't the focus of this special. We have so many queer people and queer characters that, like, do not get anything outside of Pride, so can we, for the love of God, please focus on one of them? Stitch, they were in here. They don't appear anywhere else. Why is the focus on Alan? So, essentially, throughout this montage, what the individual, like, artist-led stories are about is people have made a wish on this wall and are now living in those fantasy worlds. So, like, Renee is back to being a cop, back with Kate, which is also why she notices something's wrong. Connor ends up being, like, Green Arrow, quickly realizing that, like, no, this is a dream situation and breaking out of it, which I love you, Connor. Never change. The best ace representation we have. Hurley, like, has her doctorate, she has the career she wanted, but she never knows Ivy in this. So she instantly gets pulled out. Like once they realize that they're in it, they get pulled out. Probably my favorite one out of the like, set was, Midnighter and Apollo, where they're living in, like, this very, like, picturesque, I would say the art style kind of emulates that whole, like, Justice League Unlimited kind of feel. Not Justice League Unlimited by Dan Mora, but Justice League Unlimited, the animated series. It kind of, like, represents that feeling. But because they made two separate wishes, and Apollo's wish was for Midnighter to no longer have to kill, and Midnighter's wish was to kill, and to be able to kill a bunch of Nazis, those two conflicted, and they were like, Midnighter was like, what the heck, man, I just want to kill a Nazi, what? Why are you making them explode? And he's like, well, I didn't want, like, I wanted you to stop killing, I didn't know that's what it meant. That was fun. But kind of the story that got on Twitter's shit list, was the Blue Snowman story, which, first of all, I'm excited that Blue Snowman has done anything. The controversy surrounds the fact that it was literally be gay, do crimes. Blue Snowman was treating gender like how Stack treats gender, which is a very common experience for gender fluid people, I feel like. Stack is nodding off camera. I'm non-binary, so like I don't fucking know. I would rather just not have any of it. And to clarify, Stack's like idea of gender is whatever's funniest at the moment. Blue Snowman seems to be in this issue whatever gets them out of the most trouble at any given moment. Which I think is hilarious, but Twitter lost their shit over it. And like I feel like that because it's like this isn't like a cis writer making fun of the trans community. This is a trans writer doing this. I think the only like criticism that people have that is valid is the fact that Wonder Woman was in a Pride special without mentioning that she is a part of the queer community. She's bisexual. This should be canon, but DC's a little bit like there's only 2 characters who have not been confirmed queer who get Pride covers. Wonder Woman and Nightwing. And like Nightwing, it's because the gays love him. The gay men love him. I don't understand that, but the gay men love him. But like Wonder Woman, she's from an island of all women, falls in love with a man at some point. I feel like that's telltale signs for bisexual propaganda. I don't mean propaganda. I cannot be saying that this as a lesbian. We've been like running queer discourse for so long, I feel like it's a CIA operation. Fun fact, the CIA actually does infiltrate fandom spaces to transfer information. This is common knowledge. I'm not stating anything that has not been said before. They just outed one Star Wars fan blog for being a CIA front. So if you wonder why Twitter kind of runs through discourse, A, people are bored, B, all the college students are off school for the summer, and C, it might be a CIA front. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, like I feel like the only valid criticism of the Blue Snowman story is the fact that Wonder Woman is in it and is not explicitly stated as queer. Otherwise, then it just seems like a revenge fantasy against transphobes, and you know what? I'm here for it. This is what the Pride Special is about. The Pride Special is for greenlighting books that DC would never in a million years greenlit. I like, this feels like more of like a revenge fantasy of a trans person than it feels like it's making fun of the community. It's preying on a very common trope that we see a lot of anti-trans people, you know, throw around. But it's poking fun at it. Like, it's like the Harley Quinn fart comic all over again. You guys are taking things too seriously sometimes. It's like, oh no, a Wonder Woman villain is doing villainous things against Wonder Woman. Call the fucking police. I don't know.
No, don't call the police.
Don't call the police. Don't do that.
No cops at Pride.
No cops at Pride. Like Blue Snowman is a Wonder Woman villain. It makes sense for Wonder Woman to be in there. Well, here's the thing. I feel like, since this is a trans man writing this, I feel like a very easy joke that, like, any gay person, or any trans person, or any queer person would make, is Wonder Woman going, no, I'm not being transphobic. I'm a part of the queer community, too. I'm bisexual.
Whoa, he's bisexual. I didn't know that.
By the way, I'm bisexual.
I feel like that would have been an easy joke to make, that a writer would have made it. If it wasn't for DC being like, no, you can't say that Wonder Woman's bisexual. We can't confirm anyone's sexualities. Ah! Everyone's bisexual, I guess. DC knows one sexuality unless you're a cop. They know lesbians. There is also one other valid criticism that I completely forgot about. The fact that the Blue Snowman story is the only it's the only sort of trans story that was featured in here. I think DC needs to do more, but I guess because, like, so at the end, after the story's wrapped and like that Ethan kid gets possessed by like the ghost of Yowie's past. After that happens, we do get this nice story from the creator of Black Lightning, Jenny Blake, who has recently come out as a trans woman, and it's kind of like a story of self-actualization, where she kind of talks about her experience coming out while also having such a big name in comics already. And it's really nice, and it's really great. I really think that if you're hesitant to pick it up because of the Blue Snowman story, you absolutely need to pick it up for Jenny Blake's story at the end. But like I do think like the two valid criticisms are Wonder Woman is a confirmed queer character. You could have made a joke about that, DC, but you guys are cowards. You guys are cowards and you refuse to admit that Wonder Woman is bisexual outside of like male writers' weird fantasies about it. Like that's the only time I feel like DC ever brings it up. And like to put her on a Pride cover, but I don't even think she's on this one for this year. But also you shouldn't buy the Wonder Woman Pride cover. There's still a war criminal working on that book. But of course, Wonder Woman is bisexual, and the second valid criticism is that there should have been more trans stories in there. Or non-binary, gender fluid, all of like any stories involving gender identity. I feel like after you have one of your major writers, like one of your major legacy writers come out as trans, maybe give her a story about it that's not just tacked on at the end. Also at the same time, like, you have like a major trans writer writing Secret Six right now, and that feels like it's the only... Actually, hang on. like you have one of your major trans writers, Nicole Maines, writing Secret Six right now. But that feels like, I don't know, like, at the same time, it's like, yeah, you gave Nicole Maines a book where she can make her character, Dreamer, who is trans, the main character. Although, again, controversially, she's not. Like, Nicole Maines is doing an excellent job. Go read Secret Six. I'm literally gonna start reviewing it, like, immediately after I stop talking about this book. But, like, I feel like maybe because Nicole is on Secret Six, they decided, like, oh, we're only gonna do one trans story this time. But, like, I feel like you need to do more, especially when Xanthe from Spirit World has not been in anything. Despite Spirit World selling incredibly well. Their last appearance in, like, Birds of Prey was, like, a year ago. Like, over a year ago. Like, what the fuck, DC? But again, don't expect corporate entities like this to give you your representation. Make it for yourself. I just like reviewing it because I like the characters. Let's talk about the real Pride book that happened this month. Secret Six by Nicole Maines. God damn, I love this series. You know, obviously they're now kidnapped by Checkmate. Jay Nakamura is doing what Jay Nakamura does, and he's getting shit done! Don't disrespect my man! Especially you fucking Demi-John shippers, your ship isn't real! Damien's never going to be queer. He's in a DC film now. They're never gonna do that. I hope that people realize that a lot of the reasons why characters have not been confirmed as queer, despite literally writers thinking that they're queer. Yes, I'm talking specifically about Johnny Storm. The reason that a lot of these characters have not been confirmed as queer is because they are going to be in movie adaptations, which is why it's easier to confirm queer some characters like John Kent or Tim Drake, where they can write it off and be like, oh, it's not that Robin who's getting adapted. It sucks being a queer person sometimes. Not when it comes to Secret Six. So Jay's getting shit done. John manages to only save Catman thinking it's Jay, which I think it's funny. Because immediately the second Jay puts him down, he's like, or the second that John puts down Catman, he's like, Jay? And Catman's like, what the fuck? There's this one panel from the Pride special where Catman's like, God, another fucking twink. Probably what he was thinking at that point. I'm having too much fun with my Secret Six reviews. The bulk of this issue, however, is about the relationship between Catman and Deadshot. Because if I know anything about Nicole Maines, she is going to make sure that every single character has screen time in this book. She clearly loves them all equally, and I love that. You know, kind of telling the toxic yaoi relationship of Catman and Deadshot, how they used to be partners, but Deadshot always goes back to Amanda, and so Catman's not really sure what their relationship is. It's kind of messy. And then Deadshot fucking tries to kill him. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Again, with Secret Six, you just need to read it for yourself. This is probably one of the best books out at DC right now. It's one of the best books, and also one of the few times, like, I think it and Zatanna, the writers get really good at the pacing of the books, where I'm like, I want more because I like these characters, not I want more because it feels like the story's incomplete, which is a problem I've had with a lot of the DC minis that have been coming out. Like, Secret Six and Zatanna feel like, yes, these are complete stories, I just need more of them. Like, I just want more of these characters. But, like, the big reveal that I specifically care about because I am a Jay Nakamura stan, first and foremost, is the fact that, A, it confirms what every single Jay fan has been saying. Jay is a victim of a genocide. There was an active genocide against his country, Gamora. Like, the thing about Gamora is that it's kind of like Zach just said off camera that, like, you know, it's a very good representation for Cambodia. Kind of the more online discussion with Jay's home country, Gamora, is that it is a representation of a lot of the colonization that happened of Southeast Asia, particularly after World War II. So Jay Nakamura, Filipino king, what up? While the colonization of Gamora seems to pull more from the Philippines and Thailand, like all of those countries that were essentially colonized after World War II. While Gamora, it started taking from that. Now it's seeming to take the form of like Cambodia, and I love it. I love Jay. But so last panel confirms Jay is a victim of a genocide, which he is. This is canon. And now we have panels where we can point to it. Second off, it also confirms that the US had involvement in the genocide of Gamora. Which, if you did not read Suicide Squad, The Dream Team, because I didn't, I didn't until I heard that Jay was in it. I just read the Jay bits, because, again, Jay Nakamura is my number one guy. But if you did not read that, Dreamer and Amanda Waller were kind of directly responsible for the death of Jay's mother, specifically making Jay and his mom believe that Superman was the one to kill her. Which is really fucked up. So Jay's kind of angry about that. It seems like in the next issue we are getting more of a Jay focus, which, woo! For me and the other, like, 10 Jay stands, we're all, like, dapping each other up. You know how it be. I think we're all Southeast Asian too. I don't quote me on this, but I do think a lot of the J stands are Southeast Asian. He's our special little boy. He's our special little guy. I will support him in all the crimes he wants to commit. So it seems like the next issue is going to focus more on Jay and his feelings towards basically everything that's been going on. I feel like while we've gotten, like, snippets of them, of him specifically, I do feel like he's kind of taken a little bit of a back focus. I guess Black Alice hasn't really gotten anything yet. But also, I don't think she needs... She doesn't need any more than she's been given in this, except maybe a lesbian except maybe a situationship with Dreamer. Coleman's get on it! That was the other thing that, like, I saw Davy John's shipper specifically trying to say that, like, oh, Nicole Maines really wants to put John and Dreamer together. No, that is false. Nicole Maines has been shutting that shit down every issue. She's like, I'm teasing it. I think that Dreamer would have a crush on him. But here's the thing. John would never leave Jay for her. John is loyal above everything else. I mean, come on. He's the son of Kal-El. That was the tagline of his fucking book. But yeah, go read Secret Six. I'm having a great time. This is literally probably the best mini out at DC right now. It's further along in issues than Zatanna is, I think. One of the two is before the other, but either way, this book is amazing. You should go read it. Okay, and now I actually have to look up what other books came out this week, because to be honest, I've read all my books this week. Okay, I didn't read JSA, but I read the rest of my books this week. I know what's going on. Okay, and other books I've read, I'm gonna kind of do Batgirl and Birds of Prey at the same time, because I think that, like, there's not too much to say about them, but they're still really good. It's just, they're kind of in the middle of their arcs, and there's less kind of characters to kind of throw around in there. Starting off with Batgirl, we are still in the Book of Shiva arc, which it's like, on one hand, I really hate the fact that the rest of Cass's book is being taken up by a Lady Shiva, like, rewriting. But on the other hand, like, Lady Shiva really needed this. So, like, I'm kind of okay with it. It's kind of weird. But luckily, towards the end of this issue, it seems like we're kind of ramping up to why Cassandra is following, like, this path that her mother set her. But, so we get kind of the backstory of Lady Shiva, specifically her time in fighting rings, and the stalking that David Kane did of her before he assaulted her. Which I'm very glad that this book has, like, cemented into an easier format, I would say. Like, this is a very easy book to jump into if you know nothing about Cassandra Cain or Lady Shiva or David Kane. But I really like that this book is still hammering in the fact that it was a power imbalance. It was an assault. Like, Cassandra was born of assault. They specifically show how David Kane stalked Lady Shiva before all this happened. And I feel like it's very important to, like, kind of put that in there for Cassandra's backstory, and I'm really glad that this book does it. Batgirl's been good, okay? You should read Batgirl. Again, this is probably the best book that Cassandra's had since, like, the original 2000s run that she had. But also at the same time, they haven't really given her books, so that's or good books. So that's kind of a weird statement to make. And on the flip side with Birds of Prey, so the big thing is that they're fighting symbiote Barda from the previous arc, and Barbara gets exploded at the end. The only thing I have to say about Birds of Prey right now by Kelly Thompson, obviously Kelly Thompson's doing a fantastic job, but the only thing I really have to say about it is I hope that fucking chip exploded during then. I need that chip gone out of Barbara. I need it disabled. I need Barbara back to being disabled. I feel like because there was also another scene, and it might have been in a previous issue, where Barbara got electrocuted. I feel like Kelly Thompson is taking every opportunity she can to be like, hey, I did this. Can Barbara be disabled again? And DC's telling her no. That is, like, the thing. When, like, a writer that you are, like, criticizing, when they do something in certain cases, you need to ask yourself, is this actually the writer, or is it an editorial decision? Like, people like Thomas King and Grant Morrison, they have editorial oversight where they won't, like, monitor them as much. But people like Kelly Thompson, and probably also the writer of that Blue Snowman story, I did not look up the names beforehand, but those two would have to go through a lot more editorial mandates than, like, some of the other ones that I criticize on here. That's all. That's kind of it for, like, the Cassandra Cain section. There's still so many. Oh, fuck, I forgot to read Justice League versus Kong versus Godzilla. Okay. So now it's on to the two Absolute books. Okay, so I skimmed through Absolute Superman. I think I'm kind of falling off of Absolute Superman a little bit. Kind of the couple major, but I don't think it's the book's fault. I think it's my attention span's fault. We're kind of wrapping up the first arc. We see Clark get shot by kryptonite for the first time. Obviously, there's the confrontation with the Peacemakers, and the Omega Men come to, like, rescue him. And it seems like the next couple issues are going to be building up the Omega Men, which, seeing as how, like, I guess my problem with the Superman book is that Lois Lane isn't in it enough. Which seems to be a very common criticism with me and Superman media. But I am glad that Jimmy's gonna get a little bit of focus as he is with the Omega Men. Man, I kind of want to, like, Lois Lane is getting captured by the Peacemaker, so I hope that she has some more stuff to do. But, like, I was really hoping that, like, more of this book would be centered around framing Superman from her perspective, in a way. I feel like that would have been a very interesting framing device, and one that also isn't done a lot, because, again, most comic book writers are misogynist. Yes, that includes Gail Simone. Fucking whacking Gail Simone for no reason. She didn't even write a book this week. But yeah, Absolute Superman still good. I think I personally have been a little bit more bored by it. Or not really bored. I think it's alright. Like, it's not gripping me as much as Absolute Wonder Woman and Absolute Martian Manhunter have been. And I think, like, when they just had the Trinity Absolute books out, like, Absolute Superman filled a nice little niche, but now that we've kind of expanded, it's like, give us more, please. Oh yeah, and then Absolute Green Lantern. You fuckers who tried to tell me that Absolute Green Lantern was a black-led book owe me $20. Yeah, go to my Ko-fi link down below. Give me $20 right now. Because guess what? The book's still about Hal. We're 3 fucking issues in. We don't know shit about Joe. We know more about Joe's ex than we know about Joe. Which, what the fuck? And then, because everyone's like, oh, but, like, Jon Stewart's in the book. Jon Stewart gets fucking eradicated. Like, this is not a black-led book, and even if it was, Al fucking Ewing is the writer. We didn't even get the good Ewing. This book fucking sucks. I feel so bad for Joe Mullen fans, specifically, shout out to Rena from my podcast. Like, I feel specifically bad about Joe Mullen fans, because, like, okay, yeah, Far Sector's good, but Far Sector is good to a point. And again, it is a story that is completely disconnected from the DC universe. And then you're like, oh, well, Joe Mullen's gonna get something in the Absolute universe. She's gonna be the lead of this new Lantern series. And then come to find out it's all about fucking Hal. Like, I'm sick of Hal Jordan. Get him the fuck out. Like, if everything was good in the world, Hal Jordan wouldn't get another opportunity after that 2011 movie flopped. I don't even think that was really his fault as a character. I just fucking hate him. Go back to being fucking Parallax or something. Like, why are we 3 issues deep into this book and I cannot tell you a single fact about this version of Joe Mullen other than she's a cop? What the fuck is that about? Anyway, fuck Al Ewing. You haven't written a good book ever. And also, you can't criticize the big 2 when you've never worked in indies. Okay, and then I have not been keeping up with JSA. Was it Michael Cho? Holy shit, Michael Cho did the cover. I met Michael Cho. He made fun of me for being a Johnny Storm fan. Most of this book seems to be taking place in, like, flashbacks, kind of going over, like, how the 2 new villains have kind of came into existence in versus the JSA, which is interesting. I think, again, this book is really easy to just pick up for people who have never read the JSA before. It also, I feel like the only mention I remember of it is that, like, Nabu, so the Dr. Fate's helmet, seems to be in control of fucking everything. I didn't know that Nabu, well, no, I knew that Nabu could do that. He's fucking helmet. Weird ass helmet. It's been good. Whenever I, like, have to sit down and, like, read books for the series, it's always, like, the last on my list, and I feel like it's just because I don't have the knowledge base for JSA to be able to say much about it, but I have been hearing from my JSA mutuals, they've all seemed to be enjoying it, so definitely go check it out. Poison Ivy 34 also came out this week. Gay Pride! Woohoo! G. Willow Wilson series is still going fucking strong as hell. I know that G. Willow Wilson is going back to the other company for a, either a mini or like I don't know how long Marvel greenlit that book, but she is going back there for a little bit. I am glad that it does not seem like Poison Ivy is ending, despite that. So you go, girl. I fucking love G. Willow Wilson. She deserves everything in the world. G. Willow Wilson deserves full credit for creating Kamala Khan, and I don't think enough of you are knowledgeable enough about the behind-the-scenes actions during the creation of Kamala, to be able to like, argue, like, oh, what about Sama Amanant? Sama Amanant was responsible for the push. She was not responsible for anything. Anything else. So when she says, oh, Kamala was always meant to be a mutant, it doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean anything. Another good Ram V book to check out that I have been hearing such good things about. I just don't know enough about this character to really, like, form an opinion on how good this miniseries is. Resurrection Man, Quantum Karma. Again, it's Ram V doing what he does best. Writing crazy ass shit. Good on you, man. And then we have Teen Titans Go number 4. I like kids comics. I like the fact that they exist. I say this every week. You know how it be. And then we also have Justice League The Atom Project number 6. I do believe that this is the end of the series. I never hear shit about this series. And it's kind of crazy because I feel like I'm the only one in contact with Captain Atom fans. I don't know. The only thing I remember about this is that, like, I remember going to my local comic book shop, and so, like, the way although I can do all my ordering online, in order to cancel a book or stop a book, you do have to, like, message them or call in or go in and say, hey, can this be removed from my pull list? It's actually harder to remove a book from your pull list than it is to add one, which is, I found out, is not a universal experience. But, like, I remember I was there one day, and I was picking up one of the issues. I don't remember why. And I saw someone walk in and go, hey, I want to cancel my... I want to take this off my pull list. And I was like, damn. What the fuck's going on? Because I still haven't been reading it. I was like, damn, what's going on here? I don't really know who this book is written for, because I feel like it's just written to tie up some loose ends that happened because of absolute power, and not really to service any of the characters who obviously people are big fans of. Anyway, last book from DC, Justice League vs. Godzilla vs. Kong 2. They're doing a fucking sequel to this shit!
We're doing a sequel. We're back by popular demand.
I'm surprised I didn't read this. Also, I realize now that I have been hearing about this because Barry Allen and Iris West are finally married. Like this is a book that finally for once marries them, which is kind of crazy. Quite honestly, I think that these crossovers are good, and that you should definitely check out the Godzilla comics if you haven't already. They have some amazing shit in there. I am gonna be talking about one of them later. This is some good shit right here. I hope that they smack Guy Gardner again, like they did last time. On to the indie comics. Okay, so first up from Image, we have another G.I. Joe book. As always, G.I. Joe comics are good. You know my spiel about it. But also we have Radiant Black number 34. Again, if you want something that's closer to like Power Rangers-esque superheroes rather than the typical comic book superheroes, definitely go check out Radiant Black. I personally just really like the extended universe stories like Radiant Pink, Inferno Girl Red, and Radiant Red. I think that I want those to be full series. I don't know why they're not. Whoever runs the fucking massive verse, hear my pleas. Give the girls more books. They do show up a lot in Radiant Black. They're not like missing. I like Radiant Black is made for a very specific fan, like the same kind of fans who are really into Invincible and like Power Rangers. I have always been a Pink Ranger stan, and so this book kind of falls into the same problem that a lot of Power Rangers do, which is they don't give the Pink Ranger enough to do. It's still good. Like, it's still good. Like, it's just not a book for me. And I think a lot of comic book reviewers need to realize that sometimes. A lot of comic book fans need to realize that sometimes. Sometimes a book's just not made for you. And then also, if you have been really enjoying specifically Den's Camp's Ultimates run or his Absolute Martian Manhunter that's out, I would recommend you check out his indie book that's out right now, Assorted Crisis Events. I've been hearing really good things about it. It's like a post-apocalyptic satire, and this is also why I will never get on Den's Camp for still working for the Big Two, because Den's does end up writing indie books, and they are often at times better than what he's been saying in the Big Two. Particularly what he's been saying in Ultimates. Like, also from Boom Studios, we do have another Power Rangers book, Power Rangers Prime. I do believe that this is the one that's more aimed to a younger audience than a lot of their other Power Rangers books. But, you know, if you have a kid and you want to get them into Power Rangers, the comics are probably the best way to do it right now. Because fuck Saban, you know? But the comics have always been really good. They also have a lot of amazing art by Dan Mora, especially the earlier stuff. Yeah, fun fact, Dan Mora got his start in Power Rangers comics, which is why I'm really excited for that Batman, the Batman Ranger. You know the one I'm talking about. And then also, because Muppet Vision 3D is closing this week, I would be, like, literally, like, the day after I fucking post this, Muppet Vision's closing, I would be regress to say, you should go check out how Jim Henson's work has been adapted into comics, specifically Jim Henson Presents. This seems to go over, again, this isn't, like, the stuff that's owned by Disney, of course, but, like, you know, you get Fraggle Rock, you get Dark Crystal, you get a lot of the other stories that Jim Henson worked on that really honestly need extended universes, because that's how fucking good they are. Anyway, RIP Muppet Vision. I fucking hate you, Disney. Rot in hell. You fucking buy Muppets and then you don't do shit with them, and then you take down Jim Henson's last and final project. Like, fuck off. And then, of course, from my favorite indie studio, IDW, Star Trek Lore War, Shaq's Worst Day. I think it's finally out on digital now. IDW seems to, like, wait a week to, like, put books on digital, or wait forever in terms of IDW Star Trek Lower Decks. But it does seem to be on digital now. I definitely recommend you check it out. Again, Shaq's Best Day won a fucking Eisner. And I know the Eisners are a little bit meaningless because they keep on giving them to Tom King. But here's the thing. Ryan North won that one fair and square, unlike Tom King, who I think fucking bots the results. Fucking war criminals and they're cheating in elections, man. Just to let y'all know, I'm a non-binary lesbian. I'm opening so much discourse with this. I'm a non-binary lesbian who's also probably still on the asexual spectrum. It just depends on, well, yeah, I'm still on it. I feel like a lot of people on here assume I'm a woman. I'm not really. I'm a genderless creature who reviews comic books. Also, a new Star Trek comic is Star Trek issue 32, so their mainline Star Trek comic. But also, a really fun Godzilla. I believe it's a miniseries. I don't think it's a full ongoing, but really fun. Easy to jump onto Godzilla book out right now is Godzilla Heist, where it's like every issue is a new heist story involving Godzilla in some way. This book is amazing. I hope it lasts forever. But I don't really think it is. But again, every issue is a new story, so you can jump in on issue 4, you can start at issue 1. It does not matter. And I appreciate that. You go Godzilla Heist. I fucking love you. Up here is going to be your next recommended video, is an episode of Ash and Their Fantastic Friends, my live show I do every Saturday, 9 p.m. EST. Is it another episode of Last Week in Comics? Is it a YouTube short? I don't know. It might even be a video I have not made since I published this. Or, like, I have not made yet. I do want to make videos on how to start collecting comics, so if you're interested in that, go check it out. Oh wait, no, I messed up the segment. But down here is the rest of the playlist for Last Week in Comics. I actually started this series with Batgirl #1, so if you want to know how good Batgirl's been for, like, literally its entire existence, go watch it. And then over here is the subscribe button. Again, I am gonna do that video about how to start collecting comics, grading versus non-grading, what this is back there. Yeah, that's an original inking of fucking She-Hulk Ceremony, because I am that insane about Wyatt Wingfoot. There's a certain point that you reach where you run out of merch of your faves, and then you have to start going for the obscure one-of-a-kind shit. Like, there is no replicas of that. It's just the one. I actually have 2 of these. I have 2 full pages of She-Hulk Ceremony. I'm trying to get more. And subscribe, because I'm going to be doing more videos. The White Wingfoot video essay is eventually going to come out someday. I still have comic books to bag and board. Maybe I'll just record that bagging and boarding video while I'm bagging and boarding. Who knows at this point. I'm going to be doing more comic-centric things. I am a comics channel first and foremost. I am your favorite non-binary lesbian who only does comics. Like, I'm just like a creature who shambles out and I review my fucking books and then I leave. And cut.